The following program is for mature audiences only. None of the information provided is intended to be medical or any other professional advice requiring licensing through any regulatory agency. It is for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Amy Satori. I'm an intuitive spiritual counselor assisting in raising the vibration of our planet. I was born with extraordinary gifts, experienced enlightenment for 6 months years ago, speak light language, and channel a being called Celeste, who is an ambassador for a Galactic Council of 60. I am able to scan your energy field for emotional blockages and talk to or aid in the healing of your organs using Qigong energy healing. I can also help you make decisions, talk to your pets, deceased loved ones, and your friends and family's higher selves. I can help you navigate your relationships and answer pressing questions in your life by talking with the unseen world. I use these skills I've developed to translate the images, feelings, impressions, and messages I'm given while tuning into you and your situation. I work Thursday through Saturday as a psychic for the Lighthouse Bookstore downtown Boulder, Colorado, and conduct remote readings all over the world. You can order a private reading from my website at amysatori.com. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow me here on Podbean, Instagram, my 1111 Twin Flame Forum on Facebook, and YouTube. Set a reminder in your phone to call live on the show any Sunday, 5:30 Pacific, 6:30 Mountain, 7:30 Central, or 8:30 Eastern to ask me a question, receive a blessing, or have me do some energy work on you. So, my friends, without further ado, let's get to today's show.
And thank you for listening to the Satori Show. I have a very special guest today. You guys are going to love. Her name is Destiny Fae. And she has started what's called the Divine Masculine and Feminine Summit. And I'm not quite sure how all this got started and what she's about and everything. So I'm just so excited today to be able to explore all that with you guys with her today. So this is Destiny Fae. Is that your real name or is that your show name?
Well, it's my chosen name. I'll say that. It's not just my show name, but it's chosen by me.
I love it.
Or it's chosen by my higher self, you could say.
Very cool. So how did this whole thing start? What gave you the idea?
Well, I think it was a series of things. Initially, it was getting very involved in community and in permaculture and the growing festival scene in a lot of places and traveling to different spiritual sites. And then when I went to Mexico the first time, I think that there was something about the land there that activated me. And I was doing quite a lot of meditation. And this was the beginning of 2017. And I got this massive downloaded vision. And it was not long after my first time being in Mount Shasta, and that was definitely activated a lot of codes in me. And I got this chunk of a download that lasted for a while after my meditation that was of this platform and foundation called the New Earth, New You Now Foundation, and that it was around events, both physical and digital, but I started off with the digital ones because of my circumstances, that were to share all of the positive things that were happening around the world and also touching on topics that are kind of like the uncomfortable topics that sit outside of the status quo that you just don't discuss, that there can be solutions for what no one discusses. So the original event we had that I put together in 4 weeks from the vision was the New Earth, New You Now Global Solutions. And when I was talking to people to interview for the original event, I actually had another passion around talking to different people around relationships and around what they saw as the distortion from culture and from social conditioning. And as I started doing that, I ended up talking to a friend of mine who I thought would be a great speaker on the Global Solutions Summit. And a lot of what she was talking about that she was passionate about was to do with her experience in her marriage and how she changed her views of marriage and of many different things. And I felt like there needed to be a platform and a space that was more focused on these sorts of things, because I began to understand just how deep and how vast that this was, and how much was out there that a lot of people were seeking. So the first Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising Summit actually happened at Beltane, which is a regular, it's kind of like a seasonal celebration that a lot of people that are very connected to nature traditions and nature magic celebrate. And they say that it's also something very connected to the fairy realm. And that was a realm that I was connecting very strongly to at the time. And it's also around the time of Valentine's Day. So that was when the first event was. And they say the story of Beltane is to do with the unification of a god and goddess energy. So that's when we had the first one, and it was beautiful. I was in Hawaii. I was going through a twin flame experience of my own, and it was paralleling to what was happening with the event. And we had couples who were in divine union come on and speak, and we had tantra teachers, and we had relationship coaches, and different people coming and sharing their wisdom and teaching people, and it was quite a success. So then I did a couple of more events, and then I did the end of 2017 the last Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising Summit, and I had actually just flown to Mexico to be with my beloved at the time. So it was very interesting. And then I actually got very unwell. So I took all of 2018 off of doing these events, and I was focusing a lot of my time on inner work and healing. And I was fortunate that I had the space to do that. And then I was guided somewhere through 2018 that I had to hit off 2019 with a really big Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising Summit to lead into all the other events of the year. So that's kind of the cliff notes of how it came to be. But my personal journey was one of becoming a coach and becoming an energy worker and becoming someone that does medium work and readings, and just being very interested in the inner working and esoteric wisdom. So that's a little bit about kind of my journey. Prerequisite to putting these events together, I did a lot of that and was traveling to a lot of sacred sites. So I guess I was just prepped and ready to be one of the people who had that vision, and the energy I was in was like, go, 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 go. So a lot of people that all came on board had been thinking about doing something like this for ages, and I just like went in full rolling, getting it done, and they kind of came on board and helped to host and to do what they could to create these events. And there will be physical events at some point, but at this point it's just creating the foundation for more people having easy access to all of these different wisdoms and information to be able to work on some of, I guess, the root systemic issues in culture and society, or social conditioning that we have around sustainability and relationship and around our lives and the earth. And yeah, that's really what it's about. A bit of a mouthful.
What a journey. That's intense. That's pretty crazy. And isn't it cool when you like step into your purpose and your passion, how everything just falls into place?
Yeah, it was interesting because it was quite an evolvement of skills required for a healthy relationship. There is a book that I love that I'm reading at the moment, and I can't remember the name, but one of the main focuses is around trust and how to have intimacy through trust. And it goes into details about how a lot of people who don't have certain emotional or mental or physical things met when they're a child, they actually have a massive deficiency in their capability to trust in general. And I definitely had, I think, mentally and emotionally did not feel like certain things were met that I desired as a child. So I didn't trust. And I used to have a program that would play all the time. And I would always say, I can't trust anyone. I can't trust anyone. And had a lot of self-sabotaging, experiences through that with friends as well, and kept myself very disconnected. And it wasn't until I realized that. And I think that when I became a nomad 4 years ago, that was kind of like my heartstrings pulling me to put myself in the most extreme environments to get a crash course in trust. And where I wasn't trusting, so that I could shift into trust, because it's an essential part of being a co-creator and of being in the new earth and of moving into higher frequencies, and then having closer relationships with friends and family, and then intimate partnerships. I don't feel like you can really have one without the other. It seems such a fundamental thing that people are like, oh yeah, of course you need trust. But a lot of us struggle to genuinely feel trust.
Well, if you can find out the name of that book, we'll put it in the description of this episode.
Oh yeah, I can definitely look it up and put it in the description.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think it's so important, just as part of everyone's journey and evolution, whatever you're afraid of, or whatever is your issue, or whatever makes you shake in your boots, like go there, go after that. It just makes you so much more well-rounded and adapted as a person and as a human being on the planet. There shouldn't, that's what the whole thing is. It's like, I like
it liberates you. It liberates you from your comfort zone, because you grow it.
And you kind of like giggle and laugh your way through the whole thing. The more you can be free of all this stuff. It's just like, oh, good, here comes another thing. This is really going to make me struggle. This will be awesome, And you can get all excited about your challenges. It becomes.
I have an experience like that right now. I actually, before this interview, I actually was having a call with one of the speakers from the summit, who actually mentors people around ascension, but also a lot around relationships. And because I feel like I'm preparing myself for something more committed, more long-term union, I have some obstacles and things and people from my past coming up that are bringing up all of these feelings and unresolved things from when I was 17, and relationships I had when I was 17. So I was just actually talking about that. And it's funny because when I'm around this particular person from my past, who has been just on the cusp of my life ever since I was 17, and very connected to a lot of different, really key things that happened to me. And I guess my experience has been falling asleep and waking up again, because I felt like I kind of was very conscious, and then I fell asleep and then I woke up again, and he was kind of connected to that. Whenever I see him, I feel like I'm a 17-year-old girl who's nervous around a boy that I like, even though I don't have feelings for him for who he is now. It's like my 17-year-old self is coming through having feelings for who he was when I was 17. And I'm like, this is so weird, because I know that I don't feel like I'm meant to be with him, but I'm genuinely feeling like a nervous 17-year-old girl. And I'm like, I don't usually feel that way around guys that I like to that extent. And it's super intense. So it's like forcing me, he wanted to catch up. So I finally said yes to catching up in a couple of days again. And I've only seen him once in 6 years since we had seen each other, and this wasn't when we were together when I was younger. This was just a period of time when he came back into my life again, and hadn't seen him for 6 years. And when I said yes to catching up, now I have butterflies in my stomach constantly from this idea of seeing him in a few days. So it's interesting, and it just shows me how important whatever, he holds for my lessons and my experience in facing something that I may not have been prepared to face before, an aspect of myself, how important that is to move towards what's uncomfortable, so you can see where it's not as bad as what you think it is, and to trust it has the opportunity to transform you. So I'm excited for the transformation, and there's this part of me that's oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. But I know that it's the path I need to take to actually be with who I feel is the person I'm meant to be with.
Aw, yay. So, and didn't you have 40,000 people who watched the summit last year?
Well, some of the videos I think had up of 40,000 views.
Oh.
So at different
points. This is needed. This is needed right now.
Yeah. So different events had different times a day that there was more people, but there is, I think, even more. I think there is now one of the videos, because a lot of the videos for previous events actually remained on our Facebook page for people to watch the replays. So some people come back and watch the content. So it's still there, and at this stage it's not going to be getting taken down. So all of the valuable content is still on the Facebook page, New Earth, New You Now, and the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising Facebook page. And I think that some of the videos have almost doubled. I think there's now videos that have upwards of 80,000 views.
Wow.
Of people who have watched it.
Geez, that's incredible. Well, and I don't know if you probably don't know this actually, but the being that I channel, Celeste, she's an ambassador of like 60 galactic beings. And when I first tuned into them, I was like, what are you guys about? Like, what's your thing? What are you trying to accomplish here? And they said, we're here to help balance the feminine and masculine energies on the planet.
That's so perfect.
Yeah. And they said, we chose you because of your unconditional love and how you are unbiased with men and women and open about sexuality and all that stuff. So I could help heal everyone in all these different ways.
Yeah, well, if they so ask to, I would love to invite them at all if they feel called for you to share something from them on the event if you like.
That would be fun.
If they want to, because there is another speaker as well that lives in Sedona who I actually visited recently when I was in Sedona, Susie Byler, and I'm not sure if you know her, but she actually channels a different group of beings, and I think that she may be channeling them. She also channels Source Creator, but there's a particular group of galactic light beings that she does channel too, and I think she will be on the event. So if you feel called to and you feel comfortable, I know you're being interviewed, but you might also, if they want to, I'd be very happy for a portion of your time slot for them to share some messages about that, because that would be great. And I like more people to become open-minded about that sort of thing as well.
Yeah. And for those of you listeners who don't know this, I'm going to be one of the guest speakers speaking about true love in the summit. So how many speakers do you have, and what types of subjects are they speaking about?
I can just share a few things. I'm actually so excited about this event because it's so vast. There's like such a vast variety of topics at this event, and
how many speakers are there, do you know at this point?
I think there's about between 45 to 48, but some of them aren't partnering, so it's not so it's like the same, they're like in the same time slot and they're sharing it, but there's people who are talking about creativity and expression, people who are talking about the divine masculine and feminine connection to the inner child, people that are talking about the divine masculine and how it needs to come through, and tantra. There's people talking about how to stop slut shaming and how to be able to be a woman who is like in your wild energy without someone turning around and making you seem like you're being, and that's not divine, and that sort of expression is not a divine way to express yourself. There's so many different.
How exciting!
I'll read a couple of the topics on the day one, because I've just got the list up here now.
I've never asked you, but how did you find me?
I'm not sure. I think that you posted something on our Facebook page at one point. This is my intuition. I think you'd shared something about your show on our Facebook page, and I messaged you, I think, and asked if you'd be interested in speaking on one of the events. And that may have been before the last event or something like that. I'm not sure. But I think we have a lot of mutual friends. But I think that's how we came in touch, because I must have shared something about the page or from the page in a group, because I actually have a lot of divine union channeled poetry that I've written, and often I post them in my page, or articles I've written about relationships or sexuality, and post them in different groups. And I don't know, you must have seen one and gone back to the page because you started posting some of the great stuff that you're doing on the page. And I was just like, oh, she seems perfect. So I think I messaged you on the page and I asked you if you would be interested.
Oh, that is so cool. That's awesome. Don't you love how everything just lines up like that?
Yeah, it must have been spirit. But just the first day gives like in itself, like there's 4 days and there's 10 time slots. But then, so that's a minimum of 40 speakers. But then there's at least, I think, 4 or 5 slots that has 2 people. So that's anywhere from 40 to 48 speakers. And then there's also extra people who are part of the panels at the end of the day with different topics. So there's anywhere up to 60 people involved, because including myself, there's up to 8 hosts as well. So there is, give or take, 60 people involved in the event.
Wow.
Including myself.
What's a panel? Whenever you say that, I'm like, ooh.
A lot of people just think a panel is like the list of speakers. But the way that I talk about a panel is it's actually like when you go to a physical event and they have a panel, they have a bunch of people in a line and a series of questions about different things, or the audience gets to ask the people questions, and it's just a lineup of people that get to it. That's, in a traditional sense, that's a panel. So what I call the panel on these online events, because online events like this is actually very new, and I've done it in a way that wasn't a copy of anything else. It was exactly how I was guided to do it. We have a conference call like we've got, but there's a bunch of people on the conference call, and the host has the topic for the discussion for that day and a series of questions that each of the panelists get asked. And they either get asked to share their experience or their perspective on a particular topic. And we have some very interesting topics. There's one day that's on sexism, there's another day on marginalization, and different people expressing their experience and their desires on marginalization. So if you're marginalized as a woman, or your sexual preference, or your nationality, these are topics that I think that are important discussions to create unity inside ourselves, where we don't have so many prejudices of other people, and also that then creates external unity. And that's a big passion of mine as well. I was for many years filming a documentary called Inspire Unity, interviewing people about their vision of unity and their perspective around unity, people who are of Indigenous cultures, and as I've traveled around the world. So that was like some of my prerequisite to doing these online events. And the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising for me was another way to help people create inner unity. So then we could begin to work together to create it externally as well. And I see that with a lot of the topics. It's really beautiful because there's such a vast variety of topics and people on these events. Because when you think of the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising and people say, well, what's that? I'm like, well, you can really simplify it by what I just said about having inner unity. But then there's so many facets of that, you know, in people's experiences and desires to express it. There's so many topics and points that on these events, it really gives people a broader perspective of what that could mean. So just on the first day, we have, with the 10 speakers, we have someone talking on the sacred marriage within, the unification of masculine and feminine.
Ooh.
Then we have someone talking on the state of masculinity, polarity, tantra, relating, and alchemy in relationships.
Huh.
We have Susie, who I mentioned before, doing some channeling, possibly of the Monera light beings, but she's also got a planetary overview and how to maintain balance. And I think part of that may be channeled from the Monera light beings. So we'll get a galactic interdimensional guidance around the planet, where the planet's at, and how to maintain balance. Then we have then we have stepping into your divine purpose and healing your inner child's trauma. Then we have another speaker who I actually met when I was in the US, who's a relationship counselor and has written a book and teaches. He teaches a lot about nonviolent communication to improve your relationship, and he's talking about dancing with divine differences in relationship.
Oh, that's awesome. And
then
flames have so many differences. That's perfect.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways that people can understand different things and can have interest in different things around this. That's why I find it so fascinating. And then we have attracting your soulmate through sexual polarity. And then this one, which I really love, the spiritual anatomy of the vagina.
Nice. Awesome.
But then we have embracing your skin.
There's a good book called The Tao of Sexology, by the way.
Oh, I'll have to look that one up.
About the sexual organs and how you can heal. It's incredible. Okay, go ahead.
I've heard about the concept, but I haven't got the book, so I'll definitely look it up, because it's definitely one of my study focuses right now is around that.
Perfect.
Then we have embracing your skin, stopping slut shaming, and empowering a rising of kings and queens. And we have the last two on day one is belief busting, the link of masculine to male and feminine to female, so that we can let go of having those prejudices around things. And then the last speaker is speaking on working with the elementals to balance and shift into the divine masculine and divine feminine. So that's just day one. So there's many fractal varieties of that and more that is going to be shared. Like, I love it. What I find is so fascinating that even though there's some similarity between some of the topics, there is such a different flavor and such a variety that it's perfect. So I'm so excited. And even though I'm only hosting the first half of day one, I think I'm probably going to be watching it all the whole time, because it's just, there's so much wisdom.
And this is like my ultimate popcorn. This is like so fun. I love it. And this is what a lot of these subjects we've explored on the Satori show as well. We had Star Oakland on talking about sacred sexuality. Interesting show too. And see how some of these I've interviewed some couples in union who also have adjusted to some of these differences, and even family and friends being against them, and all kinds of. We are so on the same page. It's so cool. If somebody's interested in taking a look at maybe some past videos, or like looking at your Facebook page, or registering for this upcoming event, like tell us, give us some links and things, which I'll also put into the description, but tell us where we can go to find out more.
Okay. Well, if they want to find the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising page, then I'm actually doing a video right now, and I'm recording, so I can't. I'm on a call with someone.
You've got someone in the background.
So if they want to go to our page, it's the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising on Facebook, or it's Facebook/Divine MASC and FEM Rise.
AND?
AND Rise. Instead of rising, it's just Rise. So that's the @ for finding it on Facebook. And then the link to register is bit.do, so bit.du.
Letting me into the house.
I'm actually recording this right now, Melissa, so no. It's bit.do, so bit.do/capital DMFR, capital SUMMIT, so DMFR Summit. And if they follow that link, then they can register to get all of the details as well. But if they go to the Facebook page, there is lots of things with our poster and our links in the Facebook event. If they go to the events in the Facebook page, then they're actually able to find the details about the event there. Even the link to register is in there as well. So there's also some really awesome videos with different details about the speakers. There's bios about the speakers that I mentioned, and bios for speakers on other days, and the different schedules of what's happening. So it's very exciting.
Are you taking donations, or could you tell us about the sponsors?
Yeah.
Which I'm one of the sponsors.
You are. I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
So,
what's happening for this event is if you register for the free viewing, it's free to view while it's live. So that's from the 1st to the 4th of February, US dates. So from Australia or this side of the world, it will be the 2nd to the 5th of February. And it goes for about 8 hours. I think in the US, it starts 1 p.m. Pacific. In Australia, it starts 8 a.m. Sydney time. And if you want to view it or get access to it after it's live streaming, it's only free for replays for the first 48 hours. And then in order to be able to watch the replays after that, it's a minimum 22 US donation, but then there's lower donations. So if you donate $11 US, between $11 US and $22 US, you actually get the meditations, because there's 8 meditations from the event. You'll get the audios of the meditation sent to you. And then if you donate $55 US and up, you actually get the replays cut up. So you'll get each of the individual speakers' video footage, the panel, the meditations, as well as the audios of the meditations. And there's also different VIP access stuff from the speakers. So you get discounts and products at VIP levels from different speakers for that level of donation as well. So all those details are on the event and on the registration page. When you go to register, you can pick free ticket, or you can pick the $11 or the 11, the 22 or the 55. And then you'll have the content from what you've donated emailed to you after the event.
Yay.
So yes. Quite a lot of value. And the reason that I'm doing that is because it takes quite a lot of work to do all of the aftermath of the event. So it's just to make sure that all of the time put into doing that is covered, and that there is something going back towards future events as well.
This is so exciting. So exciting. Is there anything else that you want to let everybody know about?
If they have curiosity about relationships or about divine union or about inner work, important inner work, about feeling unity and balance, then I would say definitely check out the event and register to participate, because there is so many things on this event that touches on so many levels that, you know, even if you just watch a portion of it, or if you come register and watch Amy do her beautiful True Love presentation and interview, then I definitely think that you'll be pleased and you'll be curious to find out more. I'm super excited for it, and there will be other events. Most of the events will be posted on the New Earth New You Now Facebook page with all sorts of different themes. So there'll be one on cosmic disclosure, there'll be ones on alternative education, on conscious healing and holistic healing. So this isn't the only theme that we do. And if you're interested in another theme, then check out the pages and you'll be able to see about the upcoming events this year too.
Yay! And I have some of these links for those of you who are on my 1111 Twin Flame Forum too. You can take that and share that on your page as well, if you want to access it there. So, well, thank you so much for coming on and explaining all about this. This is so awesome. This is something everyone can share and get the word out about this. And if you know anybody that you think that could use this, everybody can. Who doesn't want to find their true love, or who doesn't want to align with their partner, or who doesn't, oh gosh, what would you say this is? I know this is a really funny question, but how, like, divine feminine, divine masculine, can you define that versus a man and a woman?
Well, my definition is that, well, we all have divinity inside of us, and an aspect of that divinity can be seen in a feminine expression, and an aspect of that divinity can be seen in a masculine expression. So I don't at all mean that the divine masculine is just a man and the divine feminine is just a woman, but both of us can express these qualities. And I guess the goal of the event is to help people see how they can balance those energies and express them in a unified, balanced way, as well as being able to have a balanced, healthy, intimate relationship outside from the inner work that's done too. And I feel like the ways that we have been socially conditioned to interact with ourselves internally and externally is a very dualistic, polarized way, where there's a lot of disconnect, there's a lot of distortion and a lot of fighting. So the goal for the event and sharing this information is to help people find their own path to finding the divinity inside and feeling their own divinity and creating what feels like a more harmonious, unified expression and experience internally and externally.
I can't wait.
Me either. It's only like, I think 3.5 weeks away.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Everybody out there, thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I guess we'll catch you next time on The Satori Show.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.